In our first story, the Association of Magistrates and Judges and the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana have described the attack by pro-MPP group Delta forces on a Kumasi Circuit Court as primitive, uncivilized and uncouth, and demanded maximum security in courts across the country. The pro-MPP vigilante group stormed the court on Thursday and set free their members who were facing prosecution at the time. Although the 13 suspects have since turned themselves in and the police has arrested 8 others who invaded the court yesterday, President of the Association of Magistrates and Judges says a lot more needs to be done to discourage such acts.
It is another sad day in the development of our constitutional democracy, a democracy that underlines nothing but the rule of law. That a group of persons can enter a courtroom and forcibly free persons who were subject of criminal prosecution is clearly unacceptable, and we condemn such act unreservedly. We view this with concern. We have no doubt in our minds that the Ghanaian society will be with us in describing such an act as primitive, uncivilized, uncouth, primordial, and above all, criminal. We call on the authorities as a matter of urgency, particularly the police, to arrest and bring to normalcy the situation of peace-loving Ghanaians to go about their lawful duties. Such acts are a threat and intimidation of the members of the judiciary. It should be most gratifying for us, and of course all Ghanaians, that all involved will be apprehended and dealt with according to law. To our members, particularly in Kumasi, where the incident occurred, we call upon you to stay calm whilst an immediate solution is found to the impasse. We assure you that we are in discussions with the headship of the Judicial Service towards providing maximum security to all the courts. As earlier directed, all members who have reason to feel threatened should, through the headship of the regional administration of the service, report to the regional police commander for appropriate steps to be taken.
While the judges are also unhappy about how the police handle the situation and have asked them to be more diligent about their threat assessments in the future.
We call on the government, particularly the police hierarchy, as a matter of urgency, to take all necessary steps to allay the worries, fears, and anxiety of all judges and magistrates in the region. We would, with all deference, strongly advise the police in future not to fail in their threat assessment of cases that come before the courts. Every court should be considered a flashpoint, a point that is worth the constant eye of the security agencies, since criminal trials have the potential of emitting violence. We appreciate the concern shown by the media. This incident should not, and we are not going to allow it to be the usual talking shop for our radio stations and TV stations without any firm action to give security to judges and magistrates all over the region. We will feel safe because normally a judge goes to sit in the courtroom alone without any security. And therefore, if you can have people who can mass up within seconds, definitely any normal human being will feel threatened. And so that is so. We definitely feel threatened.
Well, speaking of the police, the Ashanti Regional Police Commander has taken the responsibility for the security breaches at the trial of the Delta Force, where members of the group raided and set free their colleagues who were facing prosecution. DCOP Kenya Boa says although the command deployed police team on standby to intervene in case of any mishap at the KMA Circuit Court, the officers couldn't get to the scene in good time due to a break in communication. The police, as we indicated earlier, have arrested 8 suspects said to have taken part in the attack on Thursday. DCOP Kenya Boss says the 13 suspects who escaped have also turned themselves in.
The police came in and they were able to arrest 8 people we suspected who might have assisted or contributed or facilitated the escape of the accused persons. And then in the night, the accused persons called that they wanted to turn themselves in because when the judge gave the order that they should go on remand for 2 weeks, they saw people coming into the courtroom, and because they are divided, some people support them for the action that they are taking, others do not support them. They didn't know, or they thought that people who did not support their cause were coming to attack them or something, and so they had to escape. But when they went out, they realized that that was not the issue, so they decided to mobilize and then come back to face the consequences. So as I speak, they are all back and they are now in custody. It's being said all over that the judge was, assaulted. No, the judge was not assaulted. Immediately after the incident, I called her, I spoke with her, and then she told me she was okay. And even after that incident, unfortunate incident, she continued with all her cases till she closed for the day.
Well, the commander says the police command has learned valuable lessons from the incident.
I must admit that because the accused persons, they turned themselves in right from day one when they were arrested and they were granted bail. They have been coming, others turned themselves in, and they've been reporting to the police on daily basis. And then when we fixed the date was fixed for them to appear before court, they went there. And so we did not anticipate that there was going to be that kind of violence that we witnessed, or that kind of troubles. I think we did not get it right there, and I have to admit that we didn't get it right, and as the leader I have to accept responsibility for that, and it has given us it's a lesson.
Well, the Ashanti Regional Peace Council is blaming the police for not doing enough to ensure peace and order during the court hearing. Now, Professor Seth Opunesiama tells Instra FM's Ohiming he is appalled by the conduct of the police.
Yes, Delta forces take the full blame for what they have done, but the police could have prevented what happened in court yesterday if they had taken preemptive measures to ensure that people will not have the freedom to do the kind of things they did yesterday. I mean, the judge could have been hurt. The lawyers, people in court could have been hurt. All because somebody felt that he didn't think this could happen. I mean, it's not good enough. We should take preemptive measures to ensure that the right things are. And talking about the police, I mean, sometimes we feel a bit worried because on the Peace Council, we want to ensure that there is justice, and within the environment of justice, that we can get peace. Look at what happened when they attacked the regional security coordinator. The police were there, but they were not preventing them from doing what they were doing. They were rather trying to protect the regional security coordinator. I mean, that is good to protect him. Even the protection they gave him, look at what happened. It was no good protection because the man eventually had to be assaulted. He fell on the stairs and so on and so forth.
Now, we do know that the Ashanti Regional Peace Council has been meeting over this issue, and we will be bringing you details as and when we get it. Now, staying a while longer on this issue, the minority in Parliament is demanding firm action from President Akufo-Addo on the vigilante groups within his party following Thursday's attack on the Kumasi court by the Delta Force. They say the attacks have reached an alarming proportion and that it's about time political leadership within the NPP cracked the whip on leaders of such groups. Ranking member of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, James Agalga, says they will soon invite ministers in charge of the various security agencies to brief them on the issue.
The committee definitely has oversight over, of course, the ministries that are responsible for the maintenance of our internal and external security, so defense, interior, and even national security. We would be, having meetings with them to impress upon them, to ask them to brief us about the steps they have taken so far and would be taking to forestall the occurrence of, the unfortunate incidents that have unfolded over the period. So the time has come for us to put politics aside and to deal with the issue of political vigilantism once and for all. We took the initiative, when we were in office just before the 2016 elections, and realizing the dangers that vigilante groups could cause to our country and our fledgling democracy, decided that it was time for us to ban them. Somehow they got emboldened that, okay, my party is in government, and so because we're in power, who can touch me? Nobody can touch me. Okay, and then they started misbehaving, acting with impunity. So it is up to the political leadership, the leadership of the New Patriotic Party, to rein them in. And the president, as leader of his political party, must play a critical role here. He must walk the talk, crack the whip.
James Agalga, however, warns the attack on the judiciary is a serious one that threatens the stability of the country.
The IGP, of course, must begin to act rather than talk. We are tired of the talking. The president assured us when he delivered himself, when he had to, of course, on the state of the nation, he assured the country that he had issued firm instructions. Only yesterday, the Minister for National Security was in the House to answer an urgent question. He assured us, but he took a step which for me, of course, requires some form of revisions, because he took the view that, you cannot disband groups that are not legally registered. That is a fact.
Yeah, exactly.
I was at the ministry. We, of course, one of our functions was the registration of private security companies, and we never registered those political vigilante groups, in that capacity.
So his position that then you can disband something which is non-existent.
You cannot disband them. The fact that they are not legally registered does not mean that they can't exist. They do exist.
Well, the opposition National Democratic Congress has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the governing MPP to, among others, arrest and prosecute all those found to have been involved in Thursday's attack on the Kumasi Circuit Court by the Delta Force. The party also says President Akufo-Addo must take full responsibility for the attack. In a statement signed by the General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the NDC condemned the attack, describing it as repugnant, bizarre, and reprehensible. The party blames the impunity being exhibited by members of Delta Force on what it says is the president's silence and unresponsiveness to calls by Ghanaians to bring the various vigilante groups to order. Well, since the NPP government assumed power, there have been reports of vigilante groups taking over toll booths, tourist sites, as well as state agencies, with the latest being the attack by the Delta Forces on the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, while the NDC is calling on the president to act swiftly in bringing perpetrators to book to serve as a deterrent to other vigilante groups. I'm joined on the phone now by General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, to discuss this issue further. Many thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, my sister.
Now you are asking the president to take responsibility for these attacks. What exactly is your expectation? Is it that he condemns this publicly?
He has been condemning it publicly, but we haven't seen any effect. Remember, the first time he made a public pronouncement was on the occasion of the State of the Nation address, and he threatened to apply the law and make sure this impunity stops. I responded that I am not sure that he was sincere, because there are all the indications that this is a carefully selected and trained paramilitary. And it started even before the election. So he would find it difficult to demobilize them. And he has indicated their lack of confidence of our current leaders in our security services. And that was the reason why they imported people to come and recruit and train those paramilitary groups. So now that they are in power, and since they came to power during the transition, these groups have constituted themselves into task forces and be entering people's houses, seizing properties, occupying government offices with impunity. And nothing has happened to any of them. So I wasn't sure there was any action that was going to be taken. True to my word, nothing has happened, and the impunity grows from bad to worse. It was followed up with attacks on the officers of the police. In fact, a policeman in uniform was attacked right in the presidency and molested by invisible forces. And you know what? They have, in every region, they have these groups there under different names. The Accra one is Invisible Forces, the Kumasi is Delta Forces, Eastern Region, the Dreaded Forces, and it's on and on all over the country.
Well, I cannot confirm that, the names of those groups,
but telling you.
Okay, well,
yes, I'm not.
What difference would this decision by the president to take responsibility for these acts make, seeing as the police, the security agencies are already on the ground acting swiftly as you are demanding?
The police on the ground are being assaulted by these people with superior training and superior weaponry. So if you are the commander-in-chief and you cannot stop it, then it means that you are not capable of running the country to guarantee the peace of citizens. And that is the reason why we gave you our mandate. So you see, their targets are carefully selected. They are attacking members of the security forces. They have attacked police officers. They have attacked the regional coordinator of national security. And they have attacked a court with a judge sitting. So if you are an ordinary person and you are offended, where are you going to report?
So what specifically do you want the president to do?
We want the president to demobilize these people, treat them as criminals, and let prosecution happen. You cannot have a situation where the president declares that he's going to prosecute people, and then senior members of his party comes out to dare the president that nobody can tax these groups, when we all know that they are illegal groupings. You cannot recruit and train private army in this country. And you are supposed to be somebody guaranteeing rule of law in the country, for which you have sworn by our constitution.
Very well.
So
now,
who is to guarantee our safety? Are we going to run into a system where anybody will take their own self-defense and the law into our own hands? Is that where we have come to as Ghanaians?
Do you think we have reached that point? We are nearing a state of insecurity?
Because it is the court. When you are offended, it is the court the matter is taken to. And if the court is powerless, then who else will protect you in a democracy?
Okay, let's come back to your statement. Your party has given the government 7 days to act on your demands. Otherwise, you will embark on what you say is a series of mass actions. Where mass actions means what exactly?
They will be defined. Because in a democracy, there are democratic means of making demands and make sure that the demands are fulfilled. So we will use democratic means to bring home the fact that he is carrying our mandate and he has an obligation to protect us. He has an obligation to protect the democratic institutions in the country. Because what we are doing is threatening our democracy. If you live in a system where the people don't have confidence in the security services, they don't have confidence in the court, they can attack courts with impunity and release suspects before court. Then why are we taking the democracy to?
Well, speaking of security agencies, in your statement, you indicated that you're calling for the resignation of the heads of the security agencies on the back of such incidents. Now, I needed to listen to the new head of the local government service, Dr. Ato Arthur, who's questioning the moral grounds on which you're making that call. Please listen.
The NDC, did they have the moral ground today to condemn it? NDC, I'm not condemning this because of NDC. I think that what is wrong is wrong. But NDC shouldn't be having that moral grounds to condemn what has gone, because they've done worse. He said the IGP should resign.
Yes. They said to arrest Kennedy Japan, resign, let IGP to resign. Then
I don't understand the NDC. NDC is asking IGP to resign.
Yes.
And yet you are giving President Akufo-Addo 7 days to do what?
So within which all of these things should happen. And
I mean, what's having the ultimatum? Let them. They are just singing. Let them continue singing. I don't get it. You asked someone to resign and you give President Akufo-Addo 7 days
because he appointed him.
No, but say resign. He didn't say President Akufo-Addo to fire.
So that's Dr. Ato Arthur. He's the new head of the local government service, questioning your party's, the moral grounds on which your party is calling for the resignation of the IGP and other security heads. How do you respond to that?
I'm saying that if you can repeat what he said, it was so faint I couldn't hear anything.
Essentially, he's questioning the moral grounds on which you're calling for the resignation of the IGP and other security agency heads, and that you shouldn't be speaking because you did worse during your tenure.
Well, worse means what?
I guess he explained it in that clip. But essentially, he's saying that you did just what the MPP is doing, and so you shouldn't.
What did NDC do? You can't just say that somebody did worse without telling us what.
Well, how do you respond to criticisms by some who say that the NDC is being hypocritical with this posture because because you have members, vigilante groups in your party which engage in such acts?
Listen, my sister, we don't have any party vigilante group. And you know why I have problems?
You don't have any party vigilante groups?
No, we don't.
How would you describe the Agalga boys, sir?
You know why I have problems with some of the media houses? When there is a problem and it's being discussed about MPP, then you get that all political parties. Somehow, I think you are scared of fixing blame when it happens to be MPP. So you just come out and say all political parties. Who and where and what is our vigilante group? What vigilante group do you have in ND? Where people have been carefully selected and trained and armed. And senior members of the party comes out to say that, yes, this is our group. We have trained them for purpose A, B, C. Tell me one in ND.
Now, finally, before we let you go,
just tell me one. You are alleging that we have a vigilante group.
I was asking a question. I did not say it for a fact. I was asking whether indeed the Agalga boys, which is suggested as a group within the NDC, is actually being backed by the party.
Nobody has recruited any people called Agalga boys.
Very well. Now, let's move on. This phenomenon of vigilante groups, it's not restricted.
Any NDC member who has come out openly to claim.
Very well said. Your point is well made.
He recruited the group, he is financing them, and he is directing them, and he tells the president not to touch them, otherwise they will be fired.
Okay.
The president tries to touch them, the court tries to attack them, and there was fire. And we are living in a country, everybody is moving without arrest.
All right, very finally, I'd like your thoughts on this. You know, phenomenon of groups within political parties. I do recall that ahead of the 2016...
NDC. There is no such group in NDC.
Okay, let me pick your thoughts on how, going forward, how we can resolve these problems. The phenomenon of vigilante groups within political parties such as the NPP.
I am saying I'm not aware of any vigilante group in any other party apart from MPP. Because these are carefully selected and trained people brought from abroad to train them and arm them and assign them duties to go and perform. And when they offend the law, people come out openly within government and the top hierarchy of the political party to urge them on. There is no political party in Ghana that has that group and it's urging them to do wrong things.
All right.
So if it is about MPP, ask them how they should disband this. That's why we are calling on the president and the leader of MPP to take action to disband those groups. All
right, we'll have to end it here. Many thanks. That's General Secretary of the Opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia there. You're watching Joy News Prime, and don't go away because we're still staying on this story. We'll be hearing from the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP on this matter.